racetrack. Down to the apron he goes, and Logano's back out front.
Guess we got a little off track, but love knows a way back through the storms and pouring rain. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on a stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Whoa, whoa. Bring it back. Oh, yeah.
And welcome once again to Kentucky Speedway as the Sprint Cup Series takes on this mile-and-a-half. 43 drivers all strapped into their cars with a new race package underneath. The anticipation of what it's going to be like going into turn number one.
The anticipation is killing me. We've been around. The weather hasn't been good all week. We were supposed to have testing earlier week. It got rained out. We just got a little bit of practice in. Here in a few minutes, 43 cars are going to roll off into turn one with a lot of questions, and they're all going to be answered by the time we get to turn two.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal, President of Advanced Auto Parts, George Sherman.
On behalf of Quaker State, Advanced Auto Parts, and our 74,000 team members across North America, drivers, start your engines!
Marty, less than a week ago, Austin Dillon was wrecked and upside down in the infield at Daytona. Tonight, he's got a good enough race car to end the night with his signature infield slide after 400 miles. That is remarkable. Rick?
Thank you, Dave. I want to take a closer look at Kentucky Speedway with the KFC track facts. This mile-and-a-half track, like no other mile-and-a-half, has 14 degrees of banking in the turns, 8 degrees on the front stretch, 4 on the back stretch. And our race facts, 267 laps, just over 400 miles. The pit road speed is 45 miles per hour. And that fuel window, 59 to 61 laps, Steve.
Yeah, I think the only reason a team's going to want to go all the way to 61 laps tonight is if it gets them to the end of the race. The way these cars have been sliding around in practice, I think these guys are going to be wanting tires well before that.
Brad Keselowski on the inside of row number one. Kyle Larson on the outside. Brad drives a Ford and has won here 5 times before. Kyle Larson has never won at this racetrack, and neither has Chevrolet. We'll see if that statistic changes tonight. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Kentucky. Three wide as they go into turn number one. Comes Jeff Gordon moving to the inside, trying to take second away from Kyle Larson. He's way down at the bottom of the racetrack, as is Joey Logano following behind them. Gordon moves up to second. Larson, your race leader.
We talked so much about how the drivers were nervous, but it didn't take them long to try 3 wide. Denny Hamlin was way on the top. You see Martin Truex trying to open up the top. It's a good sign when the racetrack opens up. That means all night long there's going to be a lot of different grooves.
So Kyle Larson, as we're 3 wide going into turn number 3, was the pole winner. Started on the outside of row 1, dropped all the way back to 3rd. Brad Keselowski was able to get by him, as was the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Brad Keselowski so good at this racetrack. The race leader out front, Jeff Gordon running second, Larson, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., all in the top 5. Yeah,
Dale Jr.'s lost 7 spots since they dropped the green flag. We're only on lap 16. Watch him get in the corner right here. See the big wiggle? Then he has to keep chasing it, keep chasing it. That is loose. He cannot keep the wheel to the left like we saw Jeff Gordon. He's got to crank it back to the right. He's losing tons of speed.
Car up to 3. And it looks as though that's a 98 of Josh Wise. A lot of damage to the right side of that car. Josh was running 41st. Was not on the lead lap.
See 98 get in the corner on the outside. 23 on the bottom just lost the back of the car of Yaley. Got into the 98. Both of them went up the racetrack. The 98 ran out of racetrack and gets into the wall. Big impact, a lot of damage.
Four wide as they go down to the apron, trying to get an advantage. It's Jimmy Johnson in the 48s. Went all the way down to the apron. You can race on the apron here at Kentucky. Probably not the preferred line. 3 wide now as they go into turn number 3. Joey Logano on the inside. Jeff Gordon trying to hold his position right in the middle of the track. And Kyle Busch using that outside line and the momentum to take 3rd away, and now fighting for 2nd.
Kyle Busch restarted 7th. He's coming around after 1 lap and he's running 2nd.
Kyle Busch so good on restarts, taking advantage of that high line. Is there a preferred line here at Kentucky, Jeff?
They're everywhere. I think it depends on. Whoa.
Little contact there. Jeff Gordon's going to move Kyle Larson out of the way.
That was an old school move right there. Get up to him, get the air off the back of his spoiler. That's something we haven't seen with the tall spoiler prior to this race. That's what the drivers are hoping you would be able to do.
As a crew chief, when this competition caution comes out, and it has now, what do you learn from these tires? What are you going to hear from your tire specialist that's going to make you adjust these cars a different way?
Well, the first thing you're going to have to decide is how many tires you're going to put on. We saw in the Xfinity race last night, 2 tires won that race.
Very impressive pit stop for the 18 team of Kyle Busch. Grabs 1 spot.
And Rick, to answer Steve's question, it was 12th that Brad Keselowski started, so now 12th to 3rd for that 2 car, Steve.
Yeah, Marty, when I look at that, that's a +9. So now, as a crew chief, you have to decide if you get 4 tires, where are you going to restart? And if that crystal ball wouldn't have lied to me so many times over my career, I would have won more races, because I seem to always think, oh, we're going to come out of pit road 6th or 7th, and we end up coming off pit road 14th or 15th.
And coming off the car is a tattered right front tire, and that was what Denny felt in the car. As soon as he felt it, he told the crew, and they said, there's nothing we can do, you got to come. 4 tires changed, then he's gone.
And here he's on the back bumper of the 18. Brad Keselowski won last night in the Xfinity Series. Wants to sweep the weekend.
And I love the proximity the 2 is able to keep to the 18. We've talked and talked about this less downforce package and how we're hoping to help the trailing car be at less of a disadvantage. Right here, he drives right up to the 18's bumper, turns underneath him, side by side off the corner.
Now let's see what he can do getting into 3. Now that he's next to him, the 18's not going to give him any room, I don't think, getting into 3, because he wants to take that air off his spoiler. The 2 is too quick, just drove right by him.
So strong is Brad Keselowski, but here comes the 18 of Kyle Busch. Fighting back on the outside, doesn't want to give the position up. As they come back to the stripe, the 18 has battled back. Kyle Busch led that lap by 1/1000th of a second. And that time, Brad Keselowski couldn't keep the speed up through 1 and 2. There have been 40 races here at Kentucky. And of those 40, 9 have been won by those 2 drivers. 25% of the races almost have been won between Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. And here comes Keselowski again.
You saw Keselowski. What he's doing, he's turning early. When you turn early, you pull the air off the car in front of you. That's an old trick. That's nothing new. It makes the 18 car just not be able to stay in the racetrack quite as well as it needs to. He's able to pull the pass off.
And that right there is the slide job. That's not a new trick either. As soon as you're clear of the car in front of you, slide up the racetrack, take his lane.
But that move early, we haven't been able to see that this year. You know, with the big spoiler, you just weren't able to manipulate the car in front of you. Now, you can, and that's the advantage these drivers have been looking for.
Trying to make the pass on the 42 of Kyle Larson.
Well, these same 2 cars earlier in the race, we saw Jeff Gordon get right to the rear bumper of the 42, get him loose in the middle of the corner and get past him. This looks the same way it's take 2 this time, though. He gets a great run, gets inside Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson wants no part of it this time. He waves the 24 on by and says, you know what? You showed me earlier you knew how to get by me. I didn't like that big wiggle you caused. You go on by, I'm going to fall in behind you and see what I can learn following you.
The 41 of Kurt Busch.
All right, stop it.
Stopped just before the start-finish line. He was in the 10th position.
All right, roll straight.
Right here, you see him underneath or behind the 42. Jeff, he just gets loose.
Yeah, he just comes around on it. You know, he's trying to go as hard as he can. He's in the throttle. He's loose. We heard him talk about being tight leaving the corner, so he may have gotten up, and as he got close to the wall, he got tight. Then he had to, like, put a lot of wheel into it to keep from hitting the wall. Then the back end comes around. But to your point, we just haven't seen these things. And you know what's crazy? The drivers wanted this. The drivers wanted the cars to drive bad.
They might not tomorrow.
No, but it sounds crazy. But I think the advantage that they all feel like they can get, because every one of them thinks they're a better driver than the next. They want it to be difficult. Look at him with his wheel.
We see Kurt Busch in the 41 coming up behind this group. He brought out the most recent caution and stays on the lead lap. The 16 of Greg Biffle trying to stay in front of that 41. 23 of J.J. Yaley.
Seems really close to the wall. Actually gets into the wall just a little bit right there. A little bit of debris flying.
Brad Keselowski very happy with this car, as you would imagine, ran up front. And Martin Truex Jr. in the left-hand side of your screen, just 2 tires on that stop. Half of the adjustment out, Dave.
Joey Logano says, I'm doing a lot inside the race car, but I need a little wedge adjustment. 4 tires full of Sunoco fuel to help that car with drive off.
Race off pit road has Kyle Busch out front. You'll see the 2 losing 9 spots. This is why.
Yeah, you see here it takes right side tires. Now it's Brad's cue to leave when they drop the jack, and the right front tire carrier didn't get the tire cleared in time. Brad stops. He has to wait for the tire to get to the right side. You see another look at it. The tire kind of falls flat at his feet. Those things are 75 pounds. Very hard to pick up.
Joey Logano at the bottom of the track early, trying to grab some positions after he crossed the start-finish line. Great restart for Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. holding on to second. David Reagan in the 55 into the 3rd spot. How about Kurt Busch? After spinning off turn 4, he's running 4th tonight.
I ain't got no brakes. I'm too loose also, but I can't slow it down.
You saw the right front rotor glowing. He was on the brakes. He just couldn't get it slowed down. Went up and got up into the wall. Now listen, here's one thing too. These teams have all lightened up their brake packages because of the old aero package, okay? They put smaller rotors. They put smaller calipers on their cars. Now that you have to use the brakes more, do you need to go back and put the old package on where you have bigger calipers and bigger rotors?
Past the halfway point of the race, crew chief, have we decided that 4 tires on every stop is the way to go?
I'm not convinced at this point. You see here a good battle between the 78 and the 19 of Carl Edwards. I'm not convinced 4 tires is the way to go. I think you really have to understand how many cars are on the lead lap and how many laps to go. If this comes down to a run with under 20 or 25 laps to the finish, I'm going to do whatever I can do to get track position. If that means 2 tires, I'm putting
sliding
2 tires
26. And a close call. But he's able to keep it straight, Jeff Burton. And it looks as though the 14 of Tony Stewart
Bring it back. Bring it around. Good job.
might have got into the inside wall. Back
Nowhere
behind
to go
the
there.
26.
They just packed it into you.
You heard him talk to Jeb. There's the 14 of Tony Stewart. Here's what happened.
See 4 wide. Not sure Tony doesn't have some sort of a problem right here. The 17 gets in the side of the 26. It's like no more damage than it was. The 14 got into the wall, locks it down. But the 14 was really slow getting into the corner, like he has some sort of a problem.
Just in front of him, Jeb Burton in the 26 got tapped by the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The ones that came onto pit road most recently could make this, as we see Carl Edwards take the lead away from Kyle Busch for just a moment. Now Kyle Busch battling on the outside again, trying to hold on to that top spot. Carl Edwards so strong tonight here at Kentucky.
See what happens when they get into turn 1. They're going to be side by side. Let's see how close to 18 gets to the 19. Gives him plenty of room.
Kyle Busch hanging on to that top spot. Carl Edwards all over the back bumper. Looking again to the inside. Going into turn 3. Can he make the pass this time? While they're racing side by side, the two getting larger in the picture.
See Carl fighting that wheel as Keselowski drives underneath him.
Keselowski easily making the pass, takes second away from Carl Edwards. How does the car fall off that fast, Jeff?
Because the two cars really fast. You know, he needed to pull that pass off when he could. He didn't quite get the pass made, wasn't able to get by the 18, and then the two cars been so quick it slowed that momentum down.
Caution out for the 9th time. Hearing there's debris in turn number 2. We will reset the field. Does this hurt Kyle Busch, who will now be able to come onto pit road, but will Brad Keselowski stay out since he was just on pit road on lap 153?
They have been doing four tire changes, and they'll do it again this time, Marty.
Kyle Busch will take 4 tires here. Adam Stevens was worried about the fuel there. He actually told Kyle, slow down on the racetrack, because they worried they were not going to be able to make it till lap 195. You see Brad Keselowski also going with 4 tires for Kyle Busch. It was a free car for Keselowski. He loved the way the car handled. Kyle Busch will win the race off pit road.
Another great stop for the 11 team. Denny Hamlin comes out second, gains 4 positions with a 4-tire stop.
Brad's had a fast car all night. He just keeps losing track position. When you have that fast car and you lose the track position, it's so frustrating. You know if you get up front, you feel like you have a shot to win this race.
Yeah, and earlier in the race, they lost track position, but there was 150 to go, 125 laps to go, 70 laps to go. That is like the ticking alarm clock in a driver and a crew chief's head. As those laps count down, they know their time's running out. They have to get back towards the front.
Carl Edwards saying that he's neutral in 1 and 2, free in turn 3.
Danica Patrick looks to have gotten into the grass.
Get rolling when you can. Leader is just his tree.
Right rear damage and right front damage to the 10.
See Danica driving into turn 3. Oh, gets loose. Gets a tap from Junior, and she went. Again, we've heard all night that Junior's had trouble with brakes. So when Danica got a little bit free, could Junior not get slowed down and he got into the back of her? That could have been the issue.
And this just happened. The 10 gets into the back of the 88 as they get onto pit road.
Yeah, she doesn't know. She doesn't know that he is having a brake problem. You know, she just thinks she knows somebody just ran into the back of her. She just doesn't know the whole story.
They continue to work on the brakes. Denny Hamlin on the high side could not hold off the 18 of Carl Edwards. Now Denny Hamlin goes to the bottom of the track. We heard Kyle feathering the accelerator there. They're going to be 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Carl Edwards to the inside. Edwards leads that lap as they go into turn number 1. Carl Edwards loose up the racetrack, has to catch it. Denny Hamlin in front. Kyle Busch second. Carl Edwards back to third. And here comes Joey Logano.
And Joe Gibbs is somewhere, has his eyes closed. Just 3 of his race cars going to turn 1 3 wide.
Carl Edwards had to pinch the car so tight getting into the corner that when he got to the middle of the corner, he just had to chase it up. Here's Logano making a move.
Joey Logano will take second away from Kyle Busch as they go across the stripe. Denny Hamlin trying to check out as they go 2 wide behind him for that second spot. Joey Logano takes it away from Kyle Busch.
The 42 right here, he's still smoking. He had contact on the restart. The give and take is gone. It's take, and take
Left
some more.
rear's down on the 42. Let's see if he stays out of the wall. He kisses the wall. The 42 has the left rear down, and that brings out the caution for the 11th time.
Yellow's up.
Here comes Denny Hamlin, back by Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards strong on the outside with the momentum. Hamlin makes the pass, slides up in front of Carl Edwards, and Edwards is going to cross over and go back to the bottom of the track.
Saw Hamlin driving the corner really deep. He couldn't hold the bottom, washed up. Carl Edwards just turned underneath him and got him back 2 wide.
Here comes Kenseth. All 3 teammates running together here.
See Keselowski behind him. He's under attack. Seems like his car's not as good right now.
And right up the middle, here comes Jeff Gordon. Gordon makes the pass on both Harvick and the 2 of Brad Keselowski to get into the chase. Kyle Busch had to win a race and then get into the top 30 in points. He's been able to win a race. He won at Sonoma. Then at Daytona, had to fight back to get a 17th place finish, and now running second at Kentucky. He's doing almost everything he can do to get into the top 30 in points.
Kyle Busch has changed his line. He's moved way up to the top of the racetrack. When he did that, he went from being about the 4th fastest car to the 1st or 2nd fastest car almost every lap. He's cut this lead to under a second. He's coming on Logano right now. 22 is loose. You can see the 22 moving around the back of the car, moving. Kyle's licking his chops right now. This is what he wants to see. When you can run the top, you want the car on the bottom to be loose, because if you ever get to the outside of him, you're only going to make him looser.
And he still has time, 23 to go.
Look at him bobble. The gap is closed now. He's on the back bumper. Here comes Kyle Busch once again.
I think Logano's got to take the high line right here. He's got to take away Busch's groove. There he went. He took the high line.
Up the racetrack goes the 22. Kyle Busch looking down a little bit lower, a half a groove lower.
But you talked, Jeff, about how you have to back up the entry. You have to back up the entry. It looked like the 22 overdrove the entry. He hadn't been up top all night, and there he drove in too hard. You see again, he tries to run the top. The 18 crosses him over. He's going to run the middle.
Logano's learning under fire right now. It's the only way he can learn. He had to go there, but he's learning under the fire of the 18.
A little bit of contact there between the 22 and 18. Here comes Kyle Busch to the bottom of the track for the lead. Kyle Busch, is he going to clear him? He does. He takes the top spot away from Joey Logano. Here comes Logano back to the bottom of the racetrack. Down to the apron he goes, and Logano's back out front.
And you need to be careful. The apron of the front stretch is so rough, you can bend something going over those bumps.
And you saw Logano do what he did when he cleared the 18. He just went straight to the wall. He said, I'm not letting you get on the outside of me. He just completely took that groove away from Kyle Busch.
Logano takes the lead back away from Kyle Busch. Now Busch to the high side again, trying to keep the momentum up.
Let's see if Logano, if this works for Logano. He went back to the bottom. 20 to go at this. 20 to go feels like 2 to go right now.
It didn't take long for him to get to the back bumper of the 22. And the 22 up high. Did he get in too fast? Kyle Busch still behind him as they come out of turn number 4. Busch looking to the inside for the lead once again. That time across the stripe. Kyle Busch, your leader by 14 one-thousandths of a second. Kyle Busch is going to clear the 22. This time he makes it stick. Kyle Busch, the leader at Kentucky.
We talked at the top of the show about adapting to the racetrack. Kyle Busch has adapted. He found a new line that worked for his race car. He got up to the top of the racetrack, ran the 22 down, and passed him.
What he has done tonight is dominate and get the most possible points he could get as we have 10 laps of racing to go. Kyle Busch still in front, has a 2-second lead over Joey Logano.
If he keeps this sort of pace up when we go to these tracks with a variety of aero packages and continues to win races, we're not going to have to wait to Richmond to figure out if he's going to be in the top 30. He's going to be there before Richmond.
47-23 next to 23 at bottom, coming back no matter what.
1 lap to go for Kyle Busch. After the accident at Daytona in the Xfinity race, a broken leg and a broken foot, he was able to bounce back, win in the Xfinity Series, got a win 2 weeks back at Sonoma at the road course. Will he get his second win of 2015? Coming out of turn number 4, Kyle Busch is going to win at Kentucky.
Awesome job. Awesome job. Adam, you guys are awesome. Right there on the crispy edge all day, pal. Way to go. Yeah, you got it, brother. Right there at the end. You better put it up on that crispy edge. That crispy edge. That thing's awesome.
But how many times have the greats been booed because they win so much? And what happens again? As he bows to the crowd, Kyle Busch wins again.
I've heard from a lot of great drivers. They don't care if they're cheering, they don't care if they're booing, they just want them making noise, because if they're making noise, that means you're making noise on the racetrack, turning people's heads, showing them how great you can be.
Celebrating in victory lane here at Kentucky. On a day when he told me, I'm not sure anyone can beat that 2 car, he certainly does it this evening in a dominating fashion. What kind of statement did this team make tonight, and you, Kyle?
Pretty good one. That was awesome. I can't say enough about Adam Stevens and this whole M&M's Crispy team. They did a phenomenal job for me, preparing a great race car. This Toyota Camry was fast. I can't say enough about them, and Interstate Batteries, Sprint, Monster Energy, of course, and the fans. You know, it's pretty cool to come here to Kentucky, one of my best places, and to score a win. You know, you got to be able to score that win. To be here in victory lane, and his team did it for me. You know, awesome stops all day, getting us and keeping us up front, and just a great race car to move around all around the racetrack. And what a blast! I know I won, but so far so good. I like the new aero package, obviously, but
What does this win say about Kyle? Just his 7th race back to get his 2nd win.
I got to tell you, for everybody out there, I got such great respect for what he's done. It's a great sports story. To be hurt that bad at Daytona, come back in 4 months, win on a road race, you know how hard that is. Come back here and win again. Just really proud of him and the whole M&M's team. Everybody's done a great job there, Adam, everybody, M&M Crispies. Hey, we're so excited for them and the whole M&M group. Thank y'all for letting us do this. We appreciate Forrest, Victoria, Pam, everybody out there, William, the whole group.
Great night, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love the new package. A lot of exciting racing. A lot of options for drivers.
Saw a lot of passing back in the pack, a lot of side-by-side action with restarts.
Second win of the 2015 season for Kyle Busch. He is back, and the winner at Kentucky.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.